What's really happening in the real estate market? We're gonna talk about that right now. It's Alex Fung here, Daryl King team, Remax Hallmark. I just wanna wish you guys Happy New Year. Hope you guys are doing very well. Hope you got to celebrate with your family and friends. And so let's just dive right into the real estate market, okay? So before we do, it's good to put into perspective, how is the real estate market compared to the stock market and the crypto market? And the good thing and the good news I have for you is that it actually outperformed both of those asset classes quite considerably. The stock market actually in the same time period of January 2022 versus January 2023, it actually dropped by over 34%, okay? And in the crypto market, it actually dropped by 78%. So it's all about perspective here, okay? How have we done versus the other two, okay? Now, the other aspect that we need to consider is the foreign buyer ban, okay, introduced by the federal government. So starting in January, okay, foreigners are not able to buy homes for up to 2 years, okay? And, you know, there's not a lot of comment about that from the government, okay? But because it's Ontario and based on, you know, there's lots of immigration that happens here, a record breaking, okay? Last year we had over 400,000 immigrants coming to Canada, okay? So it's very interesting to see what's happening, okay? And the second thing that we need to think about too, though, is how, as an investor and as a foreigner, there are ways to get around the foreign buyer ban, okay? Before I begin though, I'm not a lawyer or an accountant, but based on my interpretation from, you know, the website and what they're saying is that you can get around that as a corporation, right? If the Canadian majority holder owns a corporation as a foreigner, you can buy a home. But that leads to the second hurdle, which is the provincial government, where they introduced a 25% foreign buyer tax. So, you know, you may still have to pay that tax, and, you know, as an investor, that might not be the best for you, right? You might look at other provinces, you might want to look at other countries, okay? So it is expected for the market to continue to cool down, okay? So one of the things that we need to look at too is the interest rates. Are they going to go up? Now, there's lots of mixed feelings about that, okay? Desjardins says that it's going to stay the same, and TD believes it's going to go up on January 25th. So nobody really knows what's happening, okay? Before, you know, the rate hikes, the interest rates were pretty much free, right? It was free money. It was 0.25, okay? Now it's about 4.25. So that's a big increase in such a very short period of time, okay, within that year. So are homeowners struggling right now? The ones that purchased homes and, you know, in February, you know, March, they are feeling the crunch, okay? They're seeing their mortgage payments, especially if they got a variable rate, they're feeling the pinch. Okay, now, before we really dive into the numbers here, we need to think about, you know, if you've done any home improvements, any upgrades, your location, any local amenities. These factors really affect the type of the prices on your home, okay? And so every neighborhood is very unique. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, but let's just get right into it. So let's get into the Markham figures. So there's 162 transactions that happened last month versus 208 the month before, okay? Now, if you look at all-time highs of February, it's about 54% less transactions that happened. And if you look at on a yearly basis as well, it's 40% less transactions that happens, okay? Yet there's still more transactions that happens now versus pre-pandemic of only 155. There's 5% more transactions. Interesting to note, because the prices have gone higher by 26% in the same time periods that we're comparing. Okay, now prices have gone up, but also interest rates have gone up as well, okay? So in terms of the type of market, right, it's still, you know, seller's market. Do not get that confused. I hear it all the time, including agents that say it's a buyer's market, but not even close based on these figures here where we're comparing the actual transactions and number of listings available. So it's still a seller's market, okay? Once that number type of market reaches from 5 to 6, it's a balanced market, and from 6 to 12, it's a buyer's market, okay? So it's good to note that. So prices did soften, okay, from 1.55 to 1.219, a 22% decrease. But again, if you compare it to other asset classes, you know, stocks, you know, crypto market, you still outperformed those asset classes by a wide margin, okay? Even if you compare on a year-to-year basis, so December, it's only dropped by 14%. Okay. So let's just dive into the detached homes. Okay, so detached homes here, we're seeing that 61 transactions versus 99 the month before, and versus 118 the year before that. Okay, all-time high is 156. Active listings, 142. The less listings available from December to November. Okay, and there's still less listings now than February. Okay, so it's interesting to note because what's happening is people that are listing their homes, they're pulling it back, taking it off the market more. Okay, which is very important for a homeowner. If you want to sell your home, you want to make sure you get the best price and you have a good agent and team to help promote your property. Okay, so the average prices did drop. Okay, from all-time high of 2.1 million in Markham to 1.78. Okay, that's a 16% decrease. Okay, to note. And if you look at the type of market, it's still a seller's market, okay, of 2.33. And it's taken about the same amount of days to sell a home from December versus November of 19 versus 18. All right, February it took only 9 days, which is very interesting to note because if you look at pre-pandemic numbers, December 2019, it took 37 days to sell a home versus 19. So there's more people that are settling or want to live in Markham compared to pre-pandemic numbers. Now, if you look at detached numbers, okay, there's not a lot of homes that have the transactions that sold. Okay, if you look at 8 homes that sold in December versus 12, okay, and then you look at December figures of 2021, 13 transactions. So these figures are not substantial where there can be a lot of anomalies and the numbers can be skewed. Okay, I just want to give you a heads up on that. So in terms of average price, right, the average price was 1.249 million versus February, which was 1.53. Okay, there's a 19% decrease. Okay, now on a month-to-month basis, though, it actually went up by 5% of 1.19. Okay, and if you compare it on a year-to-year basis, December 21 versus 2022, the numbers actually stayed relatively similar. It's a 4% decrease. Just that. Okay. Now, it's interesting to note too, though, because pre-pandemic numbers, you're still up by 49%. Okay. In terms of type of market, again, it's still a seller's market. Okay, don't get me wrong. Don't try to fight me on this. If someone tells you it's the buyer's market, just show them this video. Okay. In terms of type of market, days on market, right? It's taken 6 additional days to sell on a day-to-day basis, a month-to-month basis, and it still took longer to sell homes now versus a year ago of 8 days. Okay. So moving on to the townhouses, right? In Markham, 26 transactions versus 23. Okay, versus 40 the year before 41. Okay. In terms of number of listings, again, very similar to detaches and semis where homeowners are actually pulling back their listings. If they're not getting the price, they're taking it off the market. All right. Now, that's not to say you cannot negotiate as a buyer. Okay, you definitely can. Okay, if you compare on a year-to-year basis, there are definitely more homes now, more options now than there was a year before, of 13 listings versus 28. And in terms of type of market, very similar to the others, it's still a seller's market by far. And days on market, it's taking only 5 additional days to sell on a month-to-month basis. Okay, same with on a year-to-year basis, only 5 additional days. Now, condo townhouses, on the other hand, very interesting. 22 transactions versus 19. Okay, and on a year-to-year basis, there's only 24 transactions that happened. So it's an 8% decrease, not that much. In terms of number of listings, though, there are 27 listings. Okay. In terms of the average price, right, a little over $1 million. Okay. Now again, you might be asking, Alex, so you're telling me my condo townhome is worth $1 million? I'm just saying on average it is. But again, it depends on your location, number of fixtures, upgrades, and local amenities, okay? Now, also here, so good to note that the home prices stayed very similar on a peak time. So December 2022 versus February is only about 1% decrease. And in terms of days on market, it's taking a lot more days to sell a home, almost a month to sell a condo townhome in Markham versus February, which only took 7 days. Okay, that's a 270% increase in how long it's going to take to sell your home. Okay, last but definitely not least, the condo apartments, right? It's very interesting to note 37 transactions versus 46 versus 94 in February. Okay, that's a 60% drop. Okay, and in terms of active listings, there's more condos available to negotiate purchase. Okay, compared to the peak, but on a month-to-month basis, people have taken down their listings. Okay. Now, in terms of the type of market, it's very similar. It's still a seller's market, guys. Okay, but February it was unheard of. Okay. And in terms of the days on market, 34 days to sell a home versus 25 on a month-to-month basis, and on a year-to-year basis, it took half the amount of time to sell a condo apartment in Markham. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you find this information useful, please share it, like it, and subscribe. Take care. Bye-bye.